Welcome to the History of United States YouTube channel. My name is Clyde Chester, and I'm 68 years old American. Please subscribe my YouTube channel for more History of United States. Let's start today's history. If I told you that the United States once had a mystery state, a state that declared independence, wrote its own constitution, raised its own flag, defended its borders with guns, and then disappeared just 74 days later, you'd probably think I was making it up. But in 1810, long before the Civil War, long before the oil boom, long before modern Louisiana even looked like Louisiana, a strange little nation appeared on the Gulf Coast. It called itself the Republic of West Florida. And the craziest part? Most Americans today don't even know it existed, but its story shaped the American South forever. This is the forgotten tale of the state that blinked into existence, rebelled against an empire, and vanished almost overnight. Welcome to Stories of the States. Today we're going deep into the swamps and pine forests of a place that fought for freedom, and then got swallowed by a rising United States. To understand West Florida, we need to talk about one of the biggest messes in early American geography. In the late 1700s, the land we now know as Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, was a patchwork of claims from France, Britain, Spain, and later the United States. The borders weren't just confusing, they were chaotic. Picture this: a narrow strip of land along the Gulf of Mexico, stretching from the Mississippi River to just past the Florida Panhandle, controlled by Spain, but settled mostly by American pioneers who came west looking for land. This strip was called West Florida, and it was a political time bomb. The settlers were English-speaking Americans. The officials were Spanish. The laws were inconsistent. By the early 1800s, tension was boiling. Settlers accused Spain of neglect, corruption, weak protection from bandits and raiders, constant delays in land documentation, and unpredictable taxes. Meanwhile, Spain, overstretched globally, tried to maintain some sense of order, but frontier Americans had a reputation. They were not the type to sit quietly. Small groups began meeting secretly in homes and taverns across the region. Whispers turned into plans, plans turned into militias, and a motto began spreading: independence first, negotiation later. In the summer of 1810, armed settlers seized a Spanish fort in what is today Baton Rouge. It was quick, it was decisive, and it was the spark. Within hours, the rebels raised a brand new flag, a single white star against a blue field, a star the Texans still recognize today. And the frontier was restless. It was only a matter of time before someone said, "You know what? We could probably run this better ourselves." September 23rd, 1810. The rebels issued a declaration: "The Republic of West Florida is hereby established." It had everything: its own constitution, its own elected president, full war skipwith, a functioning legislature, a militia to protect its borders, and, of course, the famous Bonnie Blue flag, the single-star banner that would reappear decades later in Southern symbolism. People celebrated in the streets. Newspapers called it the New American Republic. Merchants rushed to join. Settlers dug rifles out of storage. For the first time, these forgotten frontier families had a nation of their own. There was just one problem. The United States wanted their land too. President James Madison was watching, and he wasn't about to let a brand new republic sit on territory America believed it had partially purchased during the Louisiana Purchase. The settlers were basically Americans already. The land was strategically critical. The Gulf Coast was vulnerable, and Madison made a decision. The U.S. would annex West Florida immediately. But here's the twist. He didn't ask, he didn't negotiate, he didn't fight a war. He simply announced, "That land is already ours," and ordered U.S. troops to march in and occupy it. Imagine the shock. The Republic of West Florida had existed for just 74 days when U.S. soldiers arrived at its border. President Fulwar Skipwith protested, "We are not opposed to joining the United States, but we will do it as a free and independent people." Madison disagreed. The U.S. military advanced. The Republic's leaders, outnumbered and outgunned, faced a choice: fight the United States or accept annexation. There was no contest. On December 10, 1810, the Republic of West Florida officially ceased to exist. Its flag lowered, its government dissolved, its territory absorbed into the growing American frontier. A nation born of rebellion, ended not by defeat, but by paperwork. Today, the land that made up the Republic of West Florida lives on in Louisiana's Florida parishes, parts of Mississippi, parts of Alabama, and if you travel through these regions, you may still see the bonny blue flag, a single white star on blue, flying quietly above old courthouses and small-town storefronts. Most people pass by without knowing its meaning, but now you do. The star wasn't originally Confederate. It wasn't originally Texan. It belonged to a tiny, determined nation that refused to be ignored. A nation that existed for only 74 days, yet changed the map of the American South forever. This was the forgotten story of the state that vanished overnight.